Okay. So, what's our agenda for today?
I don't know. You're the boss. You tell us.
No, I can't. It's not possible to be the boss of anyone here. No.
Yeah, you're the boss. You're the man.
You keep us together.
Well, thank you. I've been pondering your questions, Allison,
Have
and
you?
I don't have any answers yet, but
No, I don't either.
it's swirling around in my head. Not very peacefully, but it's there. So
I think that's really important that it's not peaceful there.
it isn't.
I think it's really well. I think the whole point of us doing this, the profit canvas and all the other stuff. I was going to say crap, but the stuff that we're doing, we're trying to push our own boundaries. And
Absolutely.
I think these questions,
absolutely,
they are so hard. If we all had answers to them, I think there would be we wouldn't need to be here.
It's true. I agree with you.
But I want answers.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll go first. I've spent too much time thinking this weekend, and possibly the reason why I'm exhausted. But I've come to the conclusion that I shouldn't let Allison hear this because she will not let me go free. I know what I have to do. I do. I keep on looking for the next easier answer. It applies to the question you posed, right? I keep on wanting a solution which will just be a little easier than what I know I have to do. And I know what I have to do. So I'll just say it out loud so that on a day when I'm flying again, I can come back to this video. So, and I actually went through our videos again, and I was like, oh God, Shirley Ann, you keep on repeating the same thing. You just turning, it's like enough already. Enough. So, what does Shirley Ann know she has to do? I have to write. I have to write. I have to write my thoughts and what I want to create and invite, like share, and I have to write. Have to just abandon this fear of being judged for my thoughts. I have to write. That's one. There are about 9 things on this list. 2, I have to show myself more. We've had this conversation before. When I do show myself, oh my goodness, yes, I get a lot of comments and stuff, but I get all these messages, whether it's from people from the past or new people. I have to stop hiding. I keep on wanting to hide behind the roses and all that, but I have to show myself more. So that's 2. 3, I have to finish the damn website, which I can finish in an hour. I know I can. And write and put the things that that I'm inviting people to. Maybe it's not the full-blown school right now, but there is something I can offer, and put it there and be vulnerable. And so yes, I have to finish the website. That's 3. 4. What's 4? There were 9. I have to write. I have to show myself more, and I have to make it fun. I don't have to treat it as this heavy task because it isn't. I love dressing up, you know that. And to just share it, no more drama. So make it fun because it's what I want, you know. Um, I have to create these retreats and things. Allison said this a couple of months ago. Instead of fishing and saying, "Oh, would you like to, let me create it, let it be this thing," and put it out there and say, "This is the date and this is the time and this is how much it'll cost," and spend 2 months marketing it. It's what it is. It's how it's done. Um, I closed down my shop because I'm not at a point where all of my systems, etc., are automated. All the art I've sold has been through an email or a private message. I haven't sold one piece where somebody just went to the shop and just bought something. So it's enough to have these things on my website and on Instagram with prices and say, send me a message and, cut down some costs. So I've already done that. I've closed the shop and it'll make me more present instead of hoping that these things will do the work for me. I have a list. I have a list of people that I've been planning to interview as part of content for my website, as part of having conversations around, the things I believe in. I've contacted some of them, and I keep on saying, "Oh, I'll send you a message next week." I have to conduct these interviews. I have to get Zoom because with Zoom I can have a split screen.
That would take 2 seconds.
Thank you. I know you're ready to pounce.
I am.
Yeah, so I have to get Zoom because I wish I could do it in Hangouts, but in Hangouts, and I can. Okay, that's another thing. No excuses. Even if I can't get Zoom, I can still have a beautiful interview in Google Hangouts. So yes, so I have to schedule these interviews, let people know ahead of time, and have them. Another something I have to do, which I've done before, which is the way of promoting a service when the service is new. So it's a process. You approach people and you interview them. And the interview leads to a conversation. And hopefully the conversation leads to interest. And you either leave the call having a wonderful, fascinating, dynamic conversation, or you leave the call with the person saying, "I want more. Tell me how I can have more." It's simple. So I have to do that, not immediately. Let me do all the first things before. And I think I'm done. Yeah, I know what to do. So
2 things. Practical thing first.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that conversation online
Mm-hmm.
and somebody wants to buy,
Mm-hmm.
I've been on the other end of that a number of times, and the most successful one was the one where the man said to me, "I'll stay on the line while you pay because I'm having a few problems with my system at the moment, so I'll just make sure that it all goes through."
That is so good.
Absolutely, wasn't it? Because I didn't really want to take part in that, but I couldn't walk away.
I'm having problems with my system.
Wow.
That is brilliant.
It worked. So it's worth it. It's worth remembering that. The other thing is, I don't want to upset you, but I just get the feeling you're frightened of being successful.
Mm.
Maybe.
I mean, procrastination is just You can do all of this, all the stuff you've talked about. You could have done by our next meeting. What's Monday? You could have that done by Friday. No problem.
I know. I'm confessing. It's a confessional. I know. So
I think the important thing here, though, is can you identify what is it that you're frightened of? What is that fear?
What am I frightened of? I'm scared of being rejected.
We all are.
Yeah, I'm terrified of rejection.
Right. Okay. Do you know what? I don't ever want to speak to you again.
Don't say that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, there's rejection. I think it made you laugh.
Yeah, but it's true. That's it. I'm not scared of success. I crave success. It's not success.
No.
It's just this fear of, putting myself out there where I'm not just putting myself out there for the fun of it. I'm putting myself out there because I'm asking something of you, or it's dependent on a response from you, or that is hard.
It's fun. It's vulnerability. It's showing ourselves. We do that as painters all the time. We show ourselves up for being incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you have to. There is that element of learning to have a thick skin. I mean, I've had some dreadful things said to me, but you kind of have to learn to think. So
because, for example, when I post a painting, and I don't say anything, like it's not, when I don't have to say, oh, I'm selling this or anything, it's easy. It's like, oh, she's just doing her thing. But when I have to, say, go the next step and say what I have to say, it's hard.
Michelle!
Hey! Hi, Michelle!
Didn't have our Wi-Fi until just now. It was sort of down. They had it here last night. And consequently, our Wi-Fi was down. But how are all of you?
I'm just in the process of bullying Shirley, all right?
Okay, bully on. Bring it on.
She just laid out her life for us, and now Allison is bullying her. So
How? What did you say?
Let's get real with this. She's just laid out what she wants to do,
what she knows she's supposed to.
She knows she can do in no time at all, and I'm saying, bloody well, get on with it, because she can do it.
Yeah,
don't we all do it? We all do it. We all do it. I've had work sat on the floor here for the last 3 weeks that I'm terrified of picking up and starting.
Oh,
I'm not saying that I'm immune, but tomorrow morning I will pick that file up and I will do it. I have to do it.
Yeah.
Feel the fear and do it anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
You obviously don't read my blog posts, you girls, because I wrote a whole thing about this the other week.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll go and read it.
I'm so behind in my reading.
But is there anything we can do to help you, kind of, apart from me shouting at you and saying I don't want to speak to you ever again?
Michelle, can you believe she said that to me?
I believe that.
Your face was a picture. Is there anything we can do to help you get over this?
Just what we do. I would like to. I would feel amazing. Oh my God, it would feel incredible to come and say I did it.
Okay, so can we hold you accountable to 2 of those things for Friday?
Okay,
whichever 2 you want to do first, and then we'll know which ones you're terrified of the most. The ones that you don't do.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right, you can
So
get Zoom. Seriously, you could get Zoom done while we're on this call. It's that simple. If I can do it,
yes,
you can do it.
yes, yes.
It's easier than setting up Google Hangouts, which I still haven't quite got my head around.
Okay, so what was the very first one was to start writing.
Sure.
Yes. So I have to start writing. What was the second one? Even if it's twice a week, to be consistent. This will make you laugh, but I'll tell you. So I don't know if you saw my Valentine's Day pictures.
Yes, they're lovely.
Thank you. They were just like what happened on Christmas Day. So Valentine's Day is our anniversary too. And I was upset. There's something about anger that just gets me to do what I have to do. So I don't want. I want to be more consistent with these spurts. So yeah, showing up, getting dressed up, having something to say, and sharing it at least twice a week instead of just posting the roses and the fashion, and, like showing up. So those two. Let's start with those two.
Those two and Zoom, which you can do by honestly. Okay. Seriously, you just go in and do it. It's less than a minute. You get anger. Anger is the thing that makes you do what you meant to do. Are you saying?
There's evidence.
So what do we have to do to make you angry enough to get it all done?
It takes a lot to get me angry, so there's nothing you can do to get me angry.
I could try.
No.
Oh boy.
No, but I will. I came to today's call to not confess, but to just Michelle, I started by saying I know what I have to do. And I keep on looking for shortcuts and easier solutions. That's why I take all these programs, but I know what I have to do. So I will do it. I'll start with 2. I'll write, and I will show myself more. And we'll take it from there.
And that's going to be, I'm going to write an agenda for Friday.
You're the record keeper, huh?
Zoom, right. What was the third one?
More pictures of me.
More pictures.
With sharing valuable content.
Okay. Who's next?
Okay, I'm done.
I'm going to write it down. Who's next?
So we're going this way. So Michelle.
Michelle,
okay, what was the precipitating question?
It began with so last week Allison shared some questions. I don't know if you've seen them.
No, I haven't seen the replay.
No, not the replay.
The posting the questions? Oh, shame on me. No, I haven't.
No, it's fine. And you can take a look at them quickly. So Allison had a conversation with her tutor, and she challenged her to answer these questions about who we are as artists, why what we do is important, why it matters, along those lines. And for me personally, those questions have been swirling in my head, but I realized that I'm exhausted. Again, I do this thing because I'm taking all these courses and enough.
I understand.
Yes.
It's time to get to work.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what started.
Okay. And then I'm looking for your questions here on the
They're in the group. Yes.
Yeah, on the group. Oh, here we go. What am I saying through my art?
Yeah, that's how we all felt.
I don't know. I don't
It
know.
wouldn't be as much fun maybe if we knew.
Yes. I agree.
It's an adventure not knowing and having it show up.
Exactly, and having it show up. Because I think when you trust yourself to the process and you're in the process, and if you know that this is your medium of communication, all I'm wanting to do is communicate. And but it doesn't even have to be what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. They will receive it in their own way based upon whatever's going on in their minds. I don't know. Who am I as an artist? I don't know. What is my personal voice? Why would people care about what I am trying to say?
If I just give you a
They
little
don't.
Well, I'll just give you a little bit of background to this. I'm doing a degree course and I'm on the second year of my degree. And this lady is my tutor. And she's quite well known in this country, actually. She's on a TV show that's happens a couple of times a year. I mean, she's quite well respected. And it was just questions that she threw at me to think about what I'm doing with my art starting on this course. And I felt that they were so difficult, but also so pertinent to what we've been trying to achieve through launching our art business, that I would bring it for everybody here to think about. And then I'm not sure if it was you, Shirley Ann, who said, why do we follow particular artists? What is it about their work which makes us care about them? And so there isn't an answer, Michelle, but I think we ought to think about
I think that these questions are very valid. I mean, I'm not poo-pooing that at all. No. What I am is, though, I think maybe I am a small A artist, and these are questions for the capital A artist.
Yeah, but we're all going to be big A artists, so come on.
Okay, okay. But when, I just, I don't know. I will give these questions thought. I'm not, I do think that they're worth considering. I just don't know. I think that we talked about the things that stop us, and I'm designing this course around them. And one of the things that I keep on coming back to is I'm the imposter. I'm not good enough, and that's right up there. That is module 5 in my course. And even though, that maybe my art is at present just great decor. It doesn't. And there are times, though, when I do. In fact, a gentleman came into my studio and said, when I'm really angry, like Shirley, when I'm really angry about something, I paint very rapidly and paint something. And I don't know that you've seen this one in its entirety, but I go, it's called Trip the Light Fantastic, but it's really about domestic abuse. And a guy had come into my studio and pointed to it and goes, that's really strong. Why don't you have it down here? And I said, because it's raw, and I did it so quickly. The black is black gesso instead of black paint, because I didn't want there to be any nuance. It was black and white, good, and I told you the story, though, that about the couple that ended up getting divorced after he commissioned me to paint one like it, and I couldn't do it in black and white. But anyway, long story short is, that was a statement piece that I could write something about, but I don't want to go around in this world and in this profession being angry. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be troubled all the time. I mean, I have all kinds of opportunity living in Washington, D.C. to get angry at the world, or angry at art. And I don't want to live like that, you know. Like art for me is a place of contemplation and in exploration internally, and it's not necessarily. I don't care if somebody just thinks it looks good with their couch. I mean, I hope that they get more to it than that. But I don't. I mean, would be fooling myself if I ever thought that I was going to be a capital A artist. You know.
Why?
Why? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no deep purpose behind what I'm doing right now, other than it's a compulsion that I have to do it. And if that sounds like bull crap, you know, it probably is, but you know, but that's my big
I think that's how we all feel about it's a compulsion. We have to do it.
Yeah, we have to do it. But but when you have to address, can you really put in a very succinct way what all of your art is about? Or is it just, because for me it might be just one painting at a time. This one painting might be about something. This one painting might relate to what's going on. Or I did do a series that was about fences, sort of symbolic, because my great-great-grandfather invented the woven wire fence, not the barbed wire, the woven wire. And so to me it meant family and connections, but it also meant barriers and inclusion, exclusion, belonging, not belonging, being paranoid versus, you know, inviting. And there was a fence manufacturer's blog that talked about people waging disputes on locations of fences. And when I used to do architecture, interior design, I remember attorneys actually on their hands and knees measuring their square footage to make sure it was equal to their rank and their status in the world. So yes, people can be damn petty about those things. But in any event, my work, and so when I was working on that series, there was a cohesion to that series, and maybe that's what I've got to come back to and trying to explore that, but anyway.
If somebody was to come along and say, well, I can take away all of your worries now and give you the studio space that you need, give you the money and income, and I'm going to make you the next, I don't know, Richard Rauschenberg, pick anybody. Would you want that?
That's a good question.
No.
I don't think so. I might want my work to be out there, but not me.
Okay.
I don't think I'd feel comfortable with that. I like my anonymity.
Well, you can create a persona. You don't have to be.
Yeah. I could be who is, you find it more with writers than with artists, people that sort of stay hidden.
Nobody knows who Banksy is, do they?
Yeah.
No.
But how about you? How about all of you? Would you want to be Robert Rauschenberg?
No, not personally. I like the fact that people appreciate the work. It's nice to receive a decent amount of money for it.
Yes. Yes.
But being famous was never a part of it for me. I could care less about that. I don't have to go down in history books. I don't have to be written up anywhere. If you would just let me paint, and I had some place for those paintings to go so they didn't accumulate in my house. And if they could be moved out to people who would appreciate them, that would be great. But fame has never been a part of it. And I don't think we make that decision anyways. Other people decide that, you know. And I really don't have any desire to mess with what they decide or don't decide.
Quite honestly, there are efforts. I mean, if you had the means, you could make yourself famous. Look at Jeffrey Koons or, Yeah.
Sure. Especially these days with social media. If you have enough money in your pocket, you can put yourself up anywhere.
Yeah.
Billboards. In fact, well, there's art on billboards here in our small town, but that was done by an organization that they took in artwork and juried who would be put up on the boards. So you didn't have control over whether it happened to you or not. But that's just one thing that happened. Go ahead, Michelle. Are you complete?
I think what else did you talk about? When are we going? Oh, I just lost the page again. Okay. Last night we had a fundraiser here for the Art League. A bunch of us had donated works, and then you buy a ticket if you want to participate, and you are allowed to pick one piece, and depending on where you get picked, because there are about 640 works donated, and they have that many tickets. And I was selected. They have 3 sets, 2 intermissions, and I was called in the middle of the second set and still got my number 1 choice.
Oh.
It just goes to say, when you talk about markets that inch wide, mile deep, that we're all so different, and there's something out there for everybody. And some of the work was not very good that was offered. But some of it was exquisite. And for $225, I got this piece.
Oh.
I mean, do you see it?
Yes.
Talk so that we can see it.
Yeah, you need to talk.
You need to talk.
Talk? Oh,
yes. You have to talk. Yeah.
Oh, really? You
because then you come up on the screen big. Come on, just
tell us about the piece.
Yeah, it's done by a woman who's a minimalist. She used to have a studio here, and she just recently moved out. She and her husband are retiring and relocating, I think. But she's got a great hand. She's just really very quite skilled, and it's an oil painting. And it's large. I mean, it's not bad size, and that was my number 1 choice, and I got it.
Well done,
you. Good for you.
My house, I've got such eclectic taste that my house is filled with all kinds of different artists' work, and very little of my own. But anyway.
That's exciting.
It is. It's so much fun. And we always have like a tailgate party in my studio. So, guys, it's always on President's Day weekend. So on the Sunday evening of President's Day weekend.
Okay.
And tickets go on sale at Martin Luther King weekend. The Saturday of Martin Luther King weekend. So. We're defined by their holidays. This event happens on it.
You're so. I do hope the factory stays on, because you have that support. The structure, the support. My goodness.
I do too.
Yeah, I think
I really do too. It's been my world, but they're taking the joy out of it. They're sucking the joy out of it. Last night, because it used to be quite a boisterous, loud crowd and fun, and last night they put the throttle on and said at the most you can only have 400 people in the center, so they put the other 200 in tents outdoors, and it was freaking cold. And and I went out there and it looked like the gulag. It was horrible. And so do you see these plans that are on my desk? They're old plans when the building was renovated. And because I took issue with that they said the count was 400, and I've already found it wasn't. It isn't. It was just another little screw turn that they did, and I know. I mean, I don't want to fight this battle because it's really the Art League, but I sincerely doubt that any of those people that had the tent spaces will come back. It was just, you know, it was not good. But
that's not nice.
Yeah, so I have a feeling that I would be a lot more productive if I didn't have this respite. You know, I mean, not the respite, but the torpedo factory, because I just haven't had to market. And so
well, we still hope it lives on.
I do too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to jump in. I want to answer the question you asked because it made me think about wanting to be famous or wanting to be that A. And I'm glad you followed that up with narrow and deep, you know. And so I know for a fact I don't want the fame of like who let's think I don't know who, but I do want to be very visible to my narrow and deep community. I do. So thank you for asking that. That gave me some conviction. Okay. Okay, Marianne, it's your turn.
Well, I spent the weekend going back over some guidance I'd received in the last 20 to 25 years. With a little more life experience under my belt, I could see how my traits of wanting to control everything and deciding what I wanted and then going after it have worked out. And the other side of the coin is the guidance was all about asking, meditating, and allowing the universe to direct me. That the greatest potentials will be when I release manipulation and control, meditate daily, and then follow the guidance that I received from that. That was what I was told years ago and has come to me many different ways. And I continue to ignore because my natural behavior is to control, manipulate, decide, go after it, make the plan, do it all mentally, all from a headspace. So now I have, more relationships that have come and gone and more businesses that have come and gone, and I can see it clearly now, where I just decided what it was going to be and how it turned out and the discomfort and maybe I did all right, but why did I have to put so many lessons in front of myself before I got the understanding. So the bit, even like deciding to take this course and follow everybody's indication of what is supposed to happen. You've got to do this and then this and then this and then this, and here's the result you're going to go after. That's all mental ahead of the game. And it's a very, it's a different approach to life to step back from that and go, I'm going to go on my instincts and the guidance that comes to me. Because I know meditation is supposed to be, a key to many things blossoming in life. And yet I resist that like crazy. I might do it a few times. Oh, it feels so good afterwards. And then I quickly forget about it. It's like yoga. I love yoga. But I only do yoga for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I just sort of quit or forget, or my life moves on, and I go back to controlling everything, from a mental space. So over the weekend, I run across something that was pretty pointed that I probably first got a hold of maybe 23 or 4 years ago, and I could just see it so clearly right now. Look how it all turns out when you decide ahead of time how it's supposed to look. that's a limitation for me. It's a limiting approach. So my challenge is to step back into a practice daily, a meditative practice, probably some yoga thrown in there too. And over the weekend, I heard somebody's podcast that included, it may have been one of
And Teresa's the savvy painter, or no?
yeah.
Okay.
What? Yeah, somebody's. It was somebody's podcast that they were talking about the morning pages. And there's another thing I resist.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
started that many times and then just dropped it. But this one woman was talking about how she used it as a dialogue opportunity because she knew she had blocks in her, how she was approaching her daily thing that she thought she was supposed to be doing. So she started dealing with it like a dialogue. Back and forth. Okay, this is my problem today. This is what I've hung up on. Now, what do you think I ought to do about this? And treating
it was a savvy painter because I listened to the same podcast.
Okay. I thought, that's an idea. That's a way that I could handle some of these things that continually are roadblocks for me that never seem to completely go away. So I guess, the writing on the wall and the thing that's the biggest resistance for me is surrendering to being guided daily versus trying to plan my life out ahead of time and decide what my responses are going to be to things. Because there's another problem I have. I decide ahead of time how I'm going to respond to things when they come up. And that is a really bad thing to do because people approach you with the very thing you said that you've thought ahead of time. Well, I'll say no to this. And I'll say no to that, and I'll allow this other thing to happen because that looks like fun. Well, I have to get over that, because people are always approaching me with opportunities that I've already decided how I'm going to be, which is a mistake, rather than being surrendering in the moment to what feels right. Miss total control, that is really given me some interesting results. So there's my challenge. And here's where I thought, while we were all talking here, this is what came to me, that thing I'm supposed to be, which is the explorer. The explorer doesn't necessarily decide ahead of time what their experience is going to be. They let themselves have the experience. And I need to be more like that. I need to let go of manipulation and preconceived ideas and trust the universe has my best interest at hand. And I don't have to always be protecting myself from whatever my fears happen to be about how things are going to be. And it may not, have anything to do with all these steps we're supposed to take. I have to be willing to take the guidance as it comes daily rather than decide things ahead of time. And that may sound very backwards, to how this being in business plan was supposed to look for all of us, according to Alexis, according to whoever's selling their plan online. But that is the clarity I received over the weekend.
Good.
So your challenge then is to say yes to everything.
Well, it's to be in the moment and say yes to more things.
Say yes. Just say yes. If I was to say to you now, I want you to do me a 12-foot mural of an elephant, its nose.
Not an elephant. A donkey.
You mean an ass?
An ass. No. We need a few more symbols.
Yes.
We need new symbols.
We do, don't we? I like elephants. But I can't.
Yeah, I just have to, it's not say yes to everybody. It's be guided by a knowledge of yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
But that comes daily, whatever you daily are drawn to. I used to not say no. I used to just take on everything people threw at me because I was afraid of being hungry. And I wanted to be working full time. I didn't want to have empty spaces. And then I learned that it was okay to say no to jobs that you weren't right for. And so, you know, I began to be honest about what I really didn't enjoy doing, and I dropped more things. And that's why I quit the faux finish business like I did in 2014, because I was so tired of saying yes to things I no longer enjoyed or wanted to do. And I just threw myself out, you know, into the mix and decided to see what it would feel like to not work full time, because I'd struggled for so long. So I'm, you know, finding my way, and I need to just trust that it will be shown to me as I need to see it, and give it the opportunity. It's the meditation thing, man, because I don't know what it is about being afraid to surrender, but that is a big issue for me. So there it is. And the paintings, that's about me. That's about me trusting the universe, and it's about exploring. Without having knowledge of what's going to come. That's why it's so much fun. It's like an adventure, the abstract painting, because I don't know what's coming. It is an exploration. It is stepping into the unknown. That's why it works for me.
I just want to add that, is there anyone who knows how to surrender?
No. Definitely not.
I think it's daily. A daily attempt.
Because I feel everything in our human makeup and our society is the exact opposite. It's how we've been raised. It's how we've been, you know, it's how we've been, I don't want to use the word programmed because that sounds creepy, but it's all we know.
Not for everybody. Not for everybody. I mean, I had a conversation with a woman the other day who just decided that she just couldn't battle something and just walked away. And that's such an easy battle. Why wouldn't you have that?
Wow.
So, you know, I think if you're an artist, we have to battle so much to be able to do what we want to do. I think it's the kinds of people that we generally are. We're fighters.
Yeah.
Fighter for our voice, maybe.
Yeah, but
for whatever comes through us, and giving up a whole lot of other stuff.
Yes.
Except for that, you know, you know how the public sees the artist as one willing to live in poor conditions just to be able to continue to do the thing they do. And you know, there are those of us, we sit here because we want to believe that we don't have to sit in poor conditions to do what we want to do, that you know, somehow we can find a way for the public to support us. I think that's truth. I don't know if we all have to be doing the same thing for that to happen.
No, we don't. We each have our own paths, definitely.
Absolutely. Oh boy.
I've just got to show you this book now that Allison's time is almost coming up, because one of my accountability partners recommended this.
Okay.
You're badass at making money. I've read that.
Oh, you have? Is it good?
It was very good for me. It caused me to do some things because of she really pointed to some problems I had with myself, but then she got back around to, you have to do this, 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 and this to make money, and it got into sales at the end of the book. So I was like, okay, now you're pushing my uncomfortable buttons, and I've done plenty of sales in my life.
But what my accountability partner said, do it on Audible if you can. Buy the Audible, because she's got a lot of personality and it's worth. But I can't, because my Audible account, a friend plugged in his code in my Audible, so I'm just reading or listening to his books.
Oh no!
And unfortunately, we don't have the same taste at all.
Oh no! It is worth listening to it, because that's how I got it, and she's very funny, but she had a poverty consciousness, which I could relate to. Yeah. And it really did cause me to change some physical things in my environment. Oh. Which I'm very thankful I did. But I admired her quite a bit up until about the middle of the book, when she started telling me how to do all these sales things that reminded me of my ex-husband. But she, but anyways,
She's on YouTube, isn't she?
she may
Is
be.
she?
I think so.
Okay. Well,
think
I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure,
I've had so many people talk about this book. So many people.
Really?
And I'm typically the one to buy the book immediately. I have refused to buy this book. I don't know why.
I'll bet you don't have some of the problems that she describes up front. I just don't see you having those problems. But for me, it was right in line. I don't see you having the issues that I was having.
Okay.
It's how she treated herself, basically.
Okay. Because I love books, and I'm, as you can tell, learning. But this is one. So when you showed it, Michelle, I just started laughing because I was like, wow, this is the one book. So anyway, yeah, thank you.
Oh, she even has one that's 6 hours on YouTube. She's got it on. She's got it on YouTube, the whole book. So I shouldn't have even bought it. Anyway, I'll be able to underscore and highlight things if I find them interesting, I guess.
Very interesting. Okay, Marianne, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's big enough issue.
It's
the rest of my life.
It's massive.
It is.
Yeah, but I think we'll be looking forward to learning from you.
Oh, to tell you what guidance I guess I'll have to share the guidance I receive, right?
Okay.
That means I have to actually stop and meditate.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Allison. It's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the question that I asked Michelle, and say that I don't want fame in the sense that you're David Bowie or Elvis or that Madonna. I don't want that kind of fame. I want recognition and I want to be successful. And if fame comes along with that, that's fine. Fame's not, that would be a byproduct of what I would want to achieve. Recognition, definitely. Success, definitely. Yeah. So that's definitely where I'm coming from. What have I done in the last few days? I spent most of my time at the hospital.
Oh, why?
My mother-in-law is not very well.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
She got rushed into hospital last Monday with just shaking. They discovered that she'd got a completely blocked bowel and she has gallbladder stones.
Oh dear.
And she now clearly has quite a serious urine infection. And I don't know if you know that when you get urine infections, you can quite often, your mind goes. She's hallucinating. There's ants crawling across the floor, and there's people in the box.
Oh my God!
It's horrible. It looks like Alzheimer's, and we must have told her. I mean, we stood in the hospital with her yesterday morning, and she's denying that she's even in hospital.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow. And is this sudden?
This is fairly sudden, yeah. She had to have. I mean, she's 88.
Oh.
She had a full hysterectomy just before Christmas, and she had a urine infection.
Oh,
this is
no.
why I would know that
goodness.
She has a problem. And then I do feel really sorry for her. My father-in-law isn't coping because it's not in the plan, is it? I'm a man and I expect my dinner on the table and she's being ridiculous and I don't know how to cope with this. And so I'm going to shout at her.
Oh.
Yes.
So that poor woman.
I feel terribly sorry for her. I gave her a great big hug yesterday and said, don't worry, you'll be all right. So I'm managing father-in-law and husband on one side and children on the other side who are obviously already back, ready. And in the middle of it, I'm not getting anything done. Because this weekend, I was meant to start on my coursework. But I will be doing it tomorrow. what else have I done? These questions, I just, yeah, I really, I would just like to have an answer for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I found an answer for, not the complete answer, but if I found, you know, what is my personal voice? I'm not even sure what my personal voice is. If I could just define one of those areas, I think everything else would naturally fall in around it. But what I think I'm going to do is, when I write to my tutor with my work, I'm going to put it in. You have to write a learning log. I'm going to put this in the front of the book and say, "This is, you made me really think." And she knows I have this group that I talk to, and I'm going to say, "Yeah, this we've all discussed it. It's. I'm going to carry on thinking about it, and then when I get to the end of this first section and I send everything off, I'm actually going to say to her, we are all struggling with this as a concept. Can you help us understand?"
Oh.
She's thrown it at me, these 4 things I need to think about. Obviously, she's something she throws at everybody. And obviously, we're all going to have our own answers. But if you throw a question out there like that, I think there needs to be some guidance coming back. So I'm hoping that in 4 to 6 weeks' time, I will be sending this off and maybe start to have some clarity around it. If I could just find something, though.
I'm still interested in what you suggested. I think we know each other well enough to be able to reflect to what we see. And so to have that round table conversation at some point, I think that will be very helpful.
Yeah.
But I still think throwing the question back at her would be equally.
I think might be interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what her response is to that. Yeah. I hope she'll I hope she'll respond. Apart from that, what else have I done? Not a lot. Not a lot at all.
Okay.
I've got a question for you, Allison. I know I've lost video. That's the unfortunate thing about pressing any button while this is going on. I had a text message come in and I responded to it. So, of course, I lost video.
Oh, dear.
And I can't figure out how to get it back. So my question is this. I noticed that you put up a lot of your concertina pages on Instagram, and then you include your regular message of, if you're interested in my work, look at this other location. I'm wondering what kind of responses you get from that.
Not a lot.
Okay. Well,
because you go to my website, it's not there.
Okay. It occurred to me that this is like your journal book, right? That you go and you throw out whatever's in your consciousness in the moment, right? Yep. That's what journals are like. Okay. Well, I thought about that. I thought, well, if you were actually going for people to be interested in purchasing your work, you'd have to show them the other work that you're actually selling.
Yeah.
I know that the journal entries are the easiest thing to toss out because we've got a lot of them. So it's really easy to load those and have those go out. I just thought I'd bring that up. I just wondered if you thought anything about that the connection between what you're showing and what you're asking for.
Right. What I do is I take stage photographs of bigger pieces that I'm working on, and when that piece is finished, I will show the stage pieces, and then if it sells, I will say, this piece, I'm so excited, this piece is going off to a new home.
Yeah. Okay.
But those pieces take a long time to do. So I might occasionally throw in, oh, look, these are the 3 that I'm working on at the moment. This is at the beginning stage, and then go back to my concertina sketchbook. So that anybody that is seriously following me is aware that I have big pieces, they take time, but this is my ideas book. And then hope those ideas, you see those ideas feed into the bigger pieces.
Have you said that? Have you ever said that?
Yes, I have. Yeah. I don't say it a lot because I think people get bored of hearing the same thing over and over again.
That's the thing. We think, and this is because I think it was Jasmine Starr who talked about it. We think we don't have to say the same things, But what she reminded us of was the fact that people, first of all, people rarely read what we write unless they're connected to us. Right.
Good point.
I'll go back to my Valentine's Day post. The very first post I wrote like what 500 characters. Like I actually I took out an excerpt from a book, and the subject was romance. And very few people read it. No one read it, but the few people who did were, the consistent, engagers. I will have to that passage is so important that I will have to share it again and again and again because I want it to be read. So coming back to you, Alison, based on the question Marianne asked, we have to share we have to share more and more often, because someone will be fascinated with this information. I mean, the way you said it, I've been here with you for months. I had never heard you say it that way.
Okay. Well, I think you solved my blog post for next week.
Okay. Yeah. And then to say it on Instagram too.
Yeah. My problem with Instagram, I love Instagram. I think it's fabulous. I've had huge success. But you're right, people don't read anything. They're flicking through, and literally, and I do it myself. Oh, like, or ignore that. Like. I don't know how to make people stop.
And coming back to what we discussed, which we will discuss further, I'm sure you'll agree with me that there are certain people who, regardless of what they post, you stop to read.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see, it's not about the image. It's about the relationship.
Yeah. Well, no, hang on. I don't know that I read. What I do is I have the people that when I put my phone on every morning and I go in and I do my posts, the first thing I look to see is who's at the top of the screen. Who's the person that's done the little video for the day? And what have they got to say? And they're really, really good at it. And Susan Nethercott, I think, is probably the best for me. I like her work. And she'll have all these little pockets of information with little, I've done this painting, and here are my brushes, and this is going to a new home, and this is she feeds you, but she does so much every day. And I still don't know how to do Instagram stories properly. I just still can't get my head.
What is her name, Susan?
Susan Nethercott. Nean. November. Echo, Alpha, Tango, Hotel.
You aren't a ham radio person, are you?
I used to do a bit of light aircraft flying in my youth. So you need it. Nethercott, Cote.
Okay.
She's Australian. She's not very old. She's got young children. Incredible. I mean, she is the Kelly Folsom of Australia, without a doubt. There's her and Claire Bremner. My phone's decided to give up the ghost. It won't do anything. I like what she does. She shows videos of how she starts a painting, how she finishes a painting. It's engaging, but I would imagine she must spend a couple of hours a day doing it, and I don't know that I can do that at the moment. Maybe in time. I've got too many other things, balls in there. But I will learn how to do. I mean, it's on my the cards when my son comes home, either at Easter or in the summer, for us to sit down and go through all this social media stuff and see if we can streamline the whole thing. I mean, just something as simple as the advice, and I think it's Jasmine Starr that says, do not post the same thing on Instagram as you're posting on Facebook. On the same day. So in order to do that, it means I'm going to have to organize all of my pictures ahead of time so that on Monday I post in Instagram something that I will post on Facebook on Wednesday or something. But actually trying to work that out, I've got to spend couple of hours figuring it out, working out the system, how to do it, how to set it up so that I can then just go press, press, press.
Yeah. Now that I'll just share something Jasmine started. I actually I had a conversation with Beata last week, and I promised that I was going to share it with us, but I forgot. So she said something which really really struck me. She said, we keep on thinking we need these numbers on social media. And she said someone can be more successful with only 100 followers than someone who has 10,000 followers. And the difference between the two would be the way the person with the 100 treats her followers.
Yeah.
Is she following them back? Is she engaged with them? Does she send them personal messages? Oh, I saw that you posted this. How are you doing? Or, you know, like really, really, really building relationships with people. And half of me finds that to be overwhelming because I'm like, oh my God, these are strangers. How do you do that? However, as soon as they're not strangers anymore, it's not hard.
Yeah.
I do
Well,
it.
you know, that's a very good point, because that copies what Alexis had talked about. She had done a little thing. Do you treat your ideal client like a client or a one-night stand? And I mean, that's true. And she said, unfortunately, that most artists do treat their clientele like one-night stands, and avoid relatedness, or don't get into. But that's a very good point. I think she's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think that's because we're frightened that we will put people off.
Yes. Reject.
And we're frightened that they're going to think the only reason we're talking to them is because we want another sale out of them.
Right.
So that means we have to find a way to be able to have a conversation with people that isn't always about our work.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's where she says, you know, because I'm sure we know when people do it to us, we can tell.
Yeah.
We can tell when someone is genuinely interested in who we are. And we can also tell when somebody is just throwing things at us all the time.
Absolutely.
You know,
like
so
you were saying on
same
Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, like we were saying on Friday, Shirley and Deed, community first, and then sales.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You know, so I thought it was quite poignant. It takes a lot. Oh my God. So I go back to the fact that it's too much. It's demanding too much of us. But it's what it is. It's what it is. But we can. I know.
How much success do you, Shirley, have with? I mean, you do it every day as well. You post in those stories on the top of the screen. Do you have people respond to that?
All the time.
Do you?
I have more people send me messages than actually comment. And I think that's just, not everyone is bold. I have people who have never liked anything I've posted, or who have never commented on it, but they send me messages all the time.
Oh, wow. I've got to learn how to do it.
I think it's more of, you know, it's not everyone who is bold enough to be out there. Because you go to these people's Instagrams and they don't post anything. So they're like the silent observers.
Right.
And they feel more comfortable when there's this private space where they can interact with you. You know, I think that's what urges me on to post in my stories.
But how much time does that take out of your day to be able to post? You mean sometimes you're posting 20, 25 pictures?
Well, sometimes I'm lying in bed reading with my son or something. And it depends. Now, it takes a lot of time when I'm painting and I have to video.
Yeah.
Oh my God. To get the camera at the right angle and the lighting. Oh my God. But that's where I get the most response.
Huh.
You know, I have people say, "Oh, I just love watching you paint and the music and the roses." You know, it takes a lot to set that up, but that's where I get the most engagement.
Okay, that's worth noting because I'm about to put out. I finished one side of my concertina sketchbook, and I always do a video of the whole thing, and I always get lots of responses when I do that. So what I wanted to do was to put it up as one of those stories at the top, but also put it as a thing on my page.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you didn't. If you're not aware of the connection, I've obviously not made it clear. So I need to find a way of making it clear through Instagram.
Yeah.
What that connection is.
And quite periodically, you know, because one person is going to catch it one time, and the next time they're not. You know.
Yeah, it's saying it in a really succinct way, isn't it?
And saying it differently. You know, it's all it boils down to creativity. We are creative people. It's just that this thing is still a new monster. But then when you think about it, if we can apply the same creativity we bring to our art to communication, it could be fun. You know.
Yeah.
It could be fun.
I have one very, very quick question for you guys. I'm chatting to a lady this evening who is a nutritionist and an artist. She has two sides to her business. She's got herself in a real pickle. She's spent thousands having people run her websites for her. She's got an account, a WordPress account, where it costs her £6,000 a year to operate because the guy that set it up has never given her the password. So every time she wants to do anything, she has to pay him.
Of course.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So she's talking about having another website. And I said, don't do that. I've got a lady who set up my WordPress account. I'm sure she can help. So I've done that. But I said to her, you really need to understand a very few key things. She gets SEOs, but she doesn't know about funnels, landing pages, what's the thing, what the lead magnets, all that kind of stuff. And I said to her, look, I said, I would ask you guys, if there's one person that does that really simply and really cheaply, a couple of £100, who would you recommend?
To learn from or to do it for her?
To learn from.
Oh. Ooh.
You know, there's a Udemy, Udemy, that the courses that you can take, they have all kinds of subjects. I think they have subjects on WordPress too.
Okay.
Also, that's a possibility. And their courses can be pretty inexpensive, but it would mean that she'd have to go in and go through it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Udemy is a great resource.
Yeah.
So
HubSpot's another one that I thought might be useful to her. But I think I don't know enough about her. She's probably the thing that I think worked for me with Alexis was the fact that you had to show up every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got this thing to increase your email list like a freaking weed that I spent $99 on. I've watched the first 2 programs. I've still never gone back. I've not been held accountable to do that.
Yeah.
And the same with Nicholas Wilton, because I'm just a member of his tribe. Until his classes start, I just don't bother to go in. And I do think that, particularly when you're starting, but even if you're not starting, you need something where you show up and you do the work.
So she's still at the very technical stage.
She's not done any of that. She's just paid people to do it for her. So she has 2 websites, one for her art and one for her nutrition business. And she's being fleeced.
Yeah. Well, that's too much. That's a lot. I know I have a ton of resources in my artillery. So let me go and see who I think could be someone to help someone at the beginning of their journey.
Okay, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having their names either.
Sorry?
I wouldn't mind having the names either. You know,
Oh,
quite
pop it in the
honestly.
chat, and we can all.
Yeah.
That
Thank
would
you.
be. She's a very sweet lady, and I just thought, oh God, don't spend all that money having another one created, and you just need to learn a few key things. You don't have to be able to do it all.
Mm-hmm. So, is this person willing to give her access to her website back?
I don't know.
Because if he has that hold on her, maybe starting all over could be a good idea. I don't know.
Well, I would have thought if you've got a WordPress account, you can go to WordPress and say, you know, I got this guy to set this up for me. He won't allow me access to my own account. Can you help?
Well, that's the point. She doesn't even understand the mechanism of it.
Yeah.
You know, so where does she begin?
Well, the lady that set my account up was brilliant, and she wrote me a whole book, which I very rarely look at. A whole book on what to do.
Wow.
It's my website. It's my guide to my website. It's got a contents list.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Everything.
Yeah.
She set it all up. She's told me what to do, how to link. If I've got a problem, and then if I really get stuck, I drop her an email. So I'm going to put her on to Claire.
So you've connected her with her?
And the email's sitting in my pending box at the moment because I thought I'd have a quick chat with you guys first. Give her these couple of ideas.
And the way you describe her, it sounds like she will need her hand held a little.
Yeah.
Before she goes into learning mode.
Yeah. So, but I think she's got a daughter that's in marketing, so I think she'll be fine. I just don't think it's ever occurred to her that she could take control like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, okay, I will. Lovely, thank you very much. So, what have I got to be accountable for?
Pardon?
What have I got to be held accountable for Friday?
You don't need accountability. You get everything done.
I do.
Everything done. You've done more than.
Get my degree work done. That's what.
Okay. All right.
Well, you have a lot on your plate, so you know, be kind to yourself.
Yeah, you got everything done. So maybe you don't need accountability from us. You just need love.
Big hugs.
That's right.
Okay then. All right. I do hope your mother-in-law feels better.
I do too.
Poor old thing. I'm sure she'll be fine. She'll outlive us all.
Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. So.
Oh, and then you take care.
You too. Have a wonderful week.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.